Hello. Today we are going to be making these salmon soba noodle bowls. It's a recipe from the Half Baked Harvest blog. It's really great. I totally encourage you to check it out. I'm going to be doing it kind of on the fly because I can't reference the recipe while I do this. So it might be a little different, but that's okay. That's how I do everything. And it's going to be great. We're going to be baking some salmon. We're going to be roasting some Brussels sprouts and then also, pardon the sound off screen, we are also going to make the soba noodles, and then we'll make a little sauce to bring it all together in the bowl. And it sounds like a lot. It's going to be a little more involved. I usually do kind of one pot, one pan kind of meal, but we'll see how it goes. I'm going to just get the oven going because that makes sense, and then we'll do our breathing to start. So we're setting the oven to 425. So let's get into this. I think it is sort of important, extra important when we're doing something that feels like it's got a lot of moving parts to it, to definitely get in a really, really calm space. So I think last week I taught you the Veloma breath. It's that bottom of our lungs, middle of our lungs, top of our lungs, pause in between. And let's do that one again because I love it, love it, love it. So for our first breath, we're going to breathe deeply in and just fill the first bottom part of our lungs, and then we're going to pause. The middle. And the top. Pause and then breathe out. We're going to go again. This time just as big as possible. Allow it to just fill your whole torso. Big. First third, pause. Middle, pause. Final top, pause, and breathe out. I notice for myself, my feet are going further into the ground, it feels like, and I notice myself lifting my body up a little bit more. Follow all that instinct as you breathe. That's the good stuff. Final breath. Bottom, pause, middle, pause, top. I feel it like right here all the way up and out. Let's just take a few deep breaths on our own here before we get started. Just notice how you feel. If there's anything different from when you started this breathing technique, just 3 breaths. Has anything changed? Maybe nothing has. For me, I feel this sort of warmth and sense of well-being. I feel it all over in my feet, running up my legs, into my hips, swirling around my chest. Just this lovely feeling of the breath, these conscious breaths moving through. And it's so soothing. Okay, so we're going to bring that energy, and I'm going to set my intention today. I would invite you to set your own to just be, as always, totally present with exactly what we're doing and see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to start with sauce for the salmon because we're going to kind of marinate them for a bit. Leave the sort of, always encourage, oh my gosh, this is like the cardinal thing in my my cookbook, Good Enough. I have this sort of the ways to calm cooking. And first you take your deep breaths and then you read your recipe all the way through if you can. In my recipes, I do this thing called the TLDR so that you can have a shortened version if you just really can't. And that's totally okay. But if you can, read all the way through just so you know what you're doing. And so I sort of have it in my head now. And I'm going to tell you that the general plan is we're going to make a sauce for the salmon. It's going to hang out. Then we're going to chop up our Brussels. We're going to get them on the tray. We're going to get them in the oven. And then we're going to get the salmon in there too. They're going to cook at slightly different times. And then they're both going to come out. The salmon is going to broil for a little bit. And while all that stuff is in the oven, we will boil water for the soba noodles. We'll get those happening and make a sauce for that. Sounds like a lot, but I think it's actually going to be pretty easeful. So, but maybe I'll be wrong. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. All right. So this sauce is some quantity of tamari or soy sauce. I always have tamari myself. It's my preference. So that's why I do that. And then honey. I have this very thick, really delicious, super flavorful honey, but I need it to be liquidy so that I can swirl everything together. So I'm going to just put it in this little dish. I've got about a tablespoon here, maybe a little bit more. We've got 4 lovely pieces of salmon. Actually, I think it's not salmon, it's Arctic char, which I love. It is, at least sometimes, a slightly more sustainable version of salmon. But my goodness, don't even get me started on the topic of sustainable fish. It's so complicated. Just something to be, basically my whole advice is if you want to choose more sustainable fish, be open to trying new kinds of fish. Because the old favorites that we're used to are almost all farmed and fished in ways that are not so great for the oceans. Woohoo! Okay, we have melty, bubbly honey. Yummy, yummy, yum, yum, yum. Then gochujang paste. Amazing. One of my favorite ingredients. Oh my gosh. Sweet and spicy at the same time. Another tablespoon or so of this. And it's thick, so it's a little hard to kind of incorporate it too perfectly into here. But as you'll notice, we have a recipe that is sweet, it is spicy, and it is salty. All the things that we like together at last, balancing each other out beautifully. All right. And then I'm going to chop a couple cloves of garlic to go in here. Got gochujang on my fingers. I hope gochujang is sometimes can be a little harder to get a hold of, but it's becoming more and more popular. It's like this beautiful Korean sweet chili paste. And I'm a huge fan. I think it's incredible on, we're making it on fish. Yesterday I put it on potatoes. It's thick. My apologies. I have a little nagging cough. I'm just going to go grab a water. I have my very silly water bottle here for your pleasure. I think I was talking about gochujang. I'm a huge fan. But it's very sort of thick. And as a result, you kind of want to, okay, I've got 3 of these. You want to loosen it up a bit. So yesterday when I was stir frying some potatoes, I added it in with some water and just loosened it up, and then the potatoes could soak it all in, and wow, amazing. And so in this, of course, it's being loosened by the tamari and the honey. And then as the salmon cooks, the salmon will release its, or the Arctic char, I should say, will release its fat and other liquid, any sort of residual water that's in it from being frozen and then thawed. And that will thin everything out and it'll coat everything and be beautiful. Wow, our oven is already ready. How nice is that? So I'm cutting these pretty big, where they're thin, but I'm not chopping them into small pieces. Just doing them into slices. Not sure what the recipe calls for, but to me this sort of makes sense. I'll have like some big pieces that hopefully will toast a little bit, yummy. And then ginger, which I tend to keep in the freezer because then it is so much easier to grate into your anything. It sort of becomes smushy and harder to grate when you have it at room temperature. And so you don't get as much sort of juiciness from it, but it will release its juice in here. And as you can see, it's just so nice and easy, so easy to grate. So I highly recommend doing that. Can't remember who taught me that trick years ago, but I've been using it for ages and ages and ages. Okay, I'm just going to bring my salmon, which I put in this baking dish. Arctic char. Gosh. Anyway. Pour this all over. Whoa. Ooh, we got lots of gochujang that did not fully incorporate. That's okay. Oh, yeah. I'm actually a huge gochujang fan. I'm like, maybe I should put more in. It smells wonderful. I'm excited about this. Okay. This is going to be great. Beautiful. So that is that. We'll just let that sit. If you're not a big fish eater, but you do tend to eat maybe a lot of chicken, I would encourage you to, and you want to start eating more fish. I would just encourage you, just take this in. I want you to see how easy it is, because people get really nervous that fish is like, oh my gosh, it's so finicky and tender. And it's not. It's just fast. It's faster than, it's lighter. The flesh of the fish takes in all this goodness so much quicker than like a chicken breast, which is so much more dense. And it's very, as you'll see, it's pretty easy to cook and have a good result with. So fish is not so difficult. It's just something you need to try. So we're going to now cut up these Brussels. I think Tegan's recipe calls for broccoli and Brussels, but I had a bunch of Brussels and no broccoli. So we're doing all Brussels sprouts today. And I think we're just going to have them. But you could chop them finer and then they would cook up faster. I'm going to go fairly quickly because I have quite a lot here. It's almost Thanksgiving, so of course there's Brussels sprouts in the market. I hope that anyone watching can bring this kind of energy to the Thanksgiving meal if you possibly can. It's sort of almost over discussed, the sort of stress of the holidays and the intensity of it. Oh, we've got somebody's car alarm going off outside. Just to emphasize my point. But it is stressful for so many reasons, not least of which is our own expectations of how it should be. Whether that's that we, want our family around us, we want them to show up in a certain way, we want the meal. I mean, articles have been written about, other people's expectations of, you need to cook it this way, and why isn't the mac and cheese this way, and I want it this way. And ultimately, it's like we all just want to eat together. We want to eat food we enjoy. We want to celebrate the season, some time together, the specialness of this holiday that comes at a time when it's really starting to get dark and cold, at least here in the Northeast and the Northern Hemisphere. And it can be a lot to think about. It can be hard to stay in the present, I think, with what we're doing right now, because we're thinking like, oh my gosh, it's getting colder and harder. And I know I am constantly leaping into my fears of this winter. And, we have holidays, and then we have like January, February, these bleak times. And how am I going to deal with that? And I think the holidays are sort of this time when you really want to soak up love and togetherness. And I think we block ourselves from that a lot of the time when we have all these expectations. We try to do too much. We don't ask for the help that we need. Or we just want others to show up differently than they are. And then we feel disappointed about that. Oh, man. I really love Brussels sprouts. The way the little leaves fall off. So cute. Tiny, beautiful little things. I'll just let you listen to the pleasurable sounds of me chopping for a minute. Be quiet. Oh, so tiny. It's a little dirty. Okay. Brussels sprouts done. Doop. And this is a silicone baking sheet, and I just like to use it instead of aluminum foil or anything like that, just to keep the pan from getting yucky. And this, of course, you can just reuse, clean in between. Highly recommend. Okay, I need olive oil and salt. So beautiful the way it's very particular. Oil is thick in this really satisfying way. It's like pourable. Yeah, it's so much thicker than water. Why is this satisfying? I don't know. Primal human reasons. You can always assume it's something like that. Salty. Now I'm going to get my hands all up in here to get salt and oil all over every single one. And why do we want to do this? Well, it's fun. I'm enjoying it. Feeling all of this scrunchy stuff. It's fun. But really also because if there's oil and salt on everything, then you'll get these little charred bits. Everything will cook through nicely. Everything will be well seasoned. This is what we want. This is what we want. So much of cooking is like, when cooking well, I think, is just not being scared to be a little messy, a little hands-on with everything. And we're so sort of careful about everything usually. It doesn't turn out quite so well. Okay. In you go. 20 minutes here. Great. And for these, I believe this is going to take about 15 minutes. I actually think it'll be less. I might put it in for 12. I think Tegan has it for 15, and I think it'll be a little less. So I'm going to do 12, especially because we're going to put it under the broiler after. So once we hit the 12-minute mark, I'll throw the salmon in as well. Not literally throw, gently place it in. But see, look, we're done like most of it already. Look at this, I have my little compost bin now over here. Finally, got myself one of these recently. Okay, my hands have salt and Brussels sprouts on them. I'm going to clean them. Yeah. Okay. Oh, gross. That honey bowl has like, I threw garlic gunk into it. Now it's all sticking together. Okay. Soba. Water. Boiling. There we go. And I'm going to salt the water. Put the lid on and wait for it to boil. And then we'll put this little pack of soba noodles in. I do love the way these come always in these lovely little packages, either surrounded by this or like a little string or something. Such a nice way to portion it out. Okay. So the package instructions tells me 7.5 minutes. I feel like that's a little long, so we'll start with 6 minutes and see. Okay. And this does have these cute little wrappers here too. Oh. Okay, well done. Beautiful. How are we doing? I could make our sauce and then that'll be everything. And then we're just waiting. We can meditate. We can do some sort of self-appreciation. So again, you can refer to the quantities in the recipe. I don't have that in front of me right now. So I'm adding some tahini in here. Look a bit. I love tahini. Love it. I think it's basically just tahini and tamari and a little sesame oil, I believe. There's the sauce for the noodles. Toasted sesame oil, I should say. Very different. Smells incredible, the toasted sesame oil just releasing. So interesting, as I put it in, I didn't really smell it, and then as I'm mixing it together, it's just almost overwhelming my senses right now, actually. Wow. Wonderful. It tastes great, actually. Really so simple, but it is a little thick. So I think that when I cook the soba noodles, I will add water to it. I bet she says to do that because that's what will help it all come together. So I'll just leave that. Ooh. I think scallions are on top as well. So we'll do one more little chopping experience. I'm just trying to know when we're at the 12-minute mark for the salmon. We're gonna do 2 scallions or green onions, as I grew up calling them. But I've gotten so used to the American version scallions or the northeastern American version. I think some people still call them green onions. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, does it? We know what we're talking about. Just taking some deep breaths as I go, noticing how I feel. I think I'm getting a little, feeling that feeling of, doing quite a few things at once, worrying about the future. Just trying to stop myself and appreciate, actually, I feel pretty good right now. Everything's going great. No need to worry. Compost. This is a new habit for me. Which is an exciting opportunity. A new habit, a new little pathway to form. I have to interrupt myself from my regular routine and do something different. I'm slicing these in half because they're really thick. And so I'm going to do a chop, 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 but I just didn't want to have these giant pieces. Okay. We're at 12 minutes. In we go. Brussels sprouts are looking bright green, which is exciting. Wonderful. Compost. This is why we meditate, so we can remember to go compost instead of the garbage bin. For real. Oh my goodness. Okay. Last bit before we can get into it is to get the soba noodles in here, and we're incredibly close to boiling. Look at how beautifully it's all just going, like this dance. One thing goes in, one thing goes out. We have time. I'm not rushing at all. How cool is that? I feel very lucky. Very nicely designed recipe. And also I think this is just what happens when you don't try too hard. Okay. Boiling. I have only this one tiny little pot or this giant one. I think I need a medium one. Here we go. So we have it at 9 minutes. I'm going to check it around 3 minutes. And in the meantime, let's do our favorite thing. My favorite thing. And take just 5-minute meditation. Or you can do a meditation on just appreciating, I don't know, I feel moved to appreciate just my hands. How capable they are, the way that they move when I chop, the way that they do all of this so easily. We don't even think about. We don't have to think about what our hands do. We just ask our hands to do it and it does it. This is how our entire bodies work. It's incredible. It's like the coolest thing. And we sort of know intellectually, it's like, oh, well, we use our brain and then it communicates with this and all of that. And that's true. But also, as we grow up in the world, we learn things. Like I'm watching my 5-year-old learn how to do so many new things. Before she was 5, when she was 1.5, 2, it was like she was learning how to use her hands in all these different ways. And so it's practice. But it's also just this incredible thing that we can just do. And our hands have this amazing vitality. We have so much flexibility in them. In my yoga class, I've been getting really into like my wrist and my finger mobility, my toe and my ankle mobility. And just, it seems like such a small thing, but it feels so incredible to have more movement in these really important parts of our bodies, our hands and our feet. We do so much with them all the time. We expect so much of them. We don't think about strengthening them. You know, we're always thinking like strengthen our arms and our legs and maybe our abs or whatever. But our hands, we're using them all the time. And we want them to be strong. We also want them to be flexible. We want to be able to like release all the tension that we feel in them all the time. So just hand appreciation for a moment. You can make a really nice soothing sound of all the smells of all the foods that I have just played with on them. Mostly the scallions, if I'm being honest. Another appreciation is just my own, again, the senses, which we're always talking about, but my hearing and this other sense, like that sense of danger. That's really what I was feeling, was that sound and the combination. I was like, I feel like something not great is happening behind me. It was just about to boil over. This is just my very smart body knowing what to do by listening and understanding what's happening around me. We all have this ability to do this naturally. It's really cool. You know, we don't have to be like off in the woods, like hunting with a bow and arrow to notice how cool and primal we kind of are, that we have these abilities. We can experience them just here and now. We take a moment to just be grateful for ourselves. And I really promise you, it's not just me that can do this. Any of you can. And maybe you don't even think it's that special. And in a way, it's not, because we can all do it. But the feeling of it, is really special. To just feel that you can trust yourself, you can understand your environment, you can take care, you can do the work of your life, you know, cooking, caring for yourself, caring for other people. That's what we're doing here. You can do the work of your life in a way that feels good, that is easeful, that uses maybe parts of this being that we don't use in the other work of our life. Maybe we're used to mostly just using what's up here, working at a computer or working really intently with our eyes. And here's some time where we can use our other senses and really use our bodies to do our work. And there's so much ease there. There's something inspiring about that. I'm going to check these soba noodles in just a moment. Put it into this sticky, see, look how thick this is. That's not going to go in our soba noodles very well. So we are going to use a bunch of this water. Oh, yeah, these look pretty good. I think that's done. And take this off the heat. How hot is this? Not too hot, thank goodness. And just put these hot noodles just directly in the bowl here. Ooh. Ooh. I'm slightly splashing myself with hot water, but don't worry. It's not too bad. Just splash a little in there. We're probably going to need more than that, though. I think this is going to require a decent amount of liquid. I'm just going to toss. Oh, the warmth is melting the tahini and bringing round 2 bigger batter sesame oil nose bath facial. Yeah, this is what'll make my cough go away. Oh my goodness, look how good this looks. Okay, we didn't need more oil. Let's just use a tiny bit more. Sorry, not oil, but liquid. Oh yeah, okay. Part of me wants to like really go for it and add some gochujang into here, but I think the salmon's gonna be really flavorful. There's gonna be plenty of sauce left over, so we'll just go with this today. Simple. And then lots of scallions. I'm just gonna do that much and then we'll put more on the final plated dish. Oh, baby. Okay. So this is the thing about soba noodles, is they do get very sticky. So when they're hot, they seem really good, and then you need more liquid. So I'm gonna just go overboard with the liquid to make sure they stay nice and loose. Wonderful. Do you know what I mean by loose? Like really just able to slip and slide freely at each noodle, sort of wanting it to slip. And I feel like that's sort of what we're going for when we make pasta noodles in general. We want it to just be loose and free. We want it to be thick enough that it's coating the strands, but not so thick that it's catching. That's sort of the goal. It's fun to try to find your way there. I think we're basically there. Okay. Set this aside. This in the sink. We have not long on our timer, and we'll see how we're doing. I'll grab my oven mitts, which have cats on them, but are also horribly burnt, as all oven mitts are, as soon as you use them like one time. I don't even understand how this happens so fast, but it does. Whew. Okay. I think the salmon looks like it could use a tiny bit more time, and we are going to broil it. So let's see how our Brussels sprouts are doing. Look, these guys could use a couple more minutes, actually. We have enough time. We've got plenty of time. Overboard. Oh, you know what? I don't know if she called for this, but I think it would be kind of cool because these look like they're not completely cooked through, but I want some more char on them as well. I don't want them to get overcooked. The little one. The little one's good. Yeah, that'd be fine. But what I'm going to do is take this out just so we're not in trouble. And turn it to broil. Ooh, okay. Clear. And then broil. Hi. Oh yeah. And so I believe her recipe says to like spoon the sauce onto the salmon before putting it under the broiler. And I think that just means like try to bathe it a little bit more on top in the liquid. But I don't know how successful I'm going to be at that, honestly. I'm going to try, because I like that idea too. More flavor on top. As you can see, it's thickening. Ooh, oh, it's very well cooked. It's flaking gorgeously, you can see. So we're just going to get a little crispiness on top. Caramelize everything. This is caramelization right at the corner. Basically, somewhere between something being cooked and something being burnt is caramelization. And we like it. We like it. So that's the difference. If it seems yucky to us, it's gone too far, it's burnt. If it appeals, this is caramelization. And again, you can, like, that's the way you can tell if it's right, is, do I like it? Does this seem good to me? You don't need a book telling you, caramelized, look at it, this exact temperature. I mean, you can do it that way, but you know, like that. That's the cool thing about our human bodies and our natural instincts around cooking food. Okay. All right, I'm gonna throw this under here. Just, I don't know, 2 minutes? Okay. And I will get a nice plate out. Cleaning up as I go. And put my ginger back in the freezer. Ugh. This has been nice. I feel great. I liked this a lot. Look, we have, a really pretty, like, classic, kind of impressive, if I do say so myself, meal. Like this, we've got noodles with a really yummy sauce on them. But they're simple. And then we have, I think, what's going to be a pretty amazing salmon situation and some beautiful, simple roasted vegetables. And they all come together to be like quite a wow of a meal. And yeah, sure, as usual, I've taken my time with it all, taken 45 minutes. We could probably do this faster. This was really pleasant the whole time. I personally really value that. I'd rather do this, take my time with this than, I don't know, some other way I might maybe spend some time. That's just me. Okay. Salmon. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to boil these guys for 2 minutes. And I think one issue is that I don't have my rack right up against the broiler, but I'm not going to move that right now. It would be a whole thing. So if you are doing this at home, you want maybe a more, I think, effective result, like really getting char on the top here and char on your Brussels sprouts. If you move your rack up to the highest setting and just have this right directly under the grill, you may get a slightly more exciting result than we have right now. But this is fine. Because you don't want to watch me like take a really hot rack and like move it. Like, we don't want that for me right now. Okay, let's do 3 minutes on those Brussels. And we'll just let these sit for a minute. I'm just going to spoon a little more of the sauce on. What do you guys think? Which one should I put on our plate? I've been extremely drawn to this one for some reason, so I think that's what I'm going for. The least square. That's the one for me. Beautiful. I'm going to just plate myself up some soba noodles here. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Still going strong, still got a lot of heat in them. See all that? You probably can't actually see it on the camera, but I can still feel the heat and the steam wafting off of them. And they're still pretty smooth. They're still moving. They're still loose. All right. Oh, baby. Salmon time. Wow. Beautiful. And just a little more of this pan sauce. Top. It's gorgeous. Ugh. A few more pieces of garlic over here. Bits of ginger. Yum. This looks good, right? It's not just me. I think this looks pretty good. You can practice another philoma or an equal breath, or just breathe deeply, feel your feet on the ground. Okay, oh yeah. Okay, I feel great about that choice. We've got some darkness that happened on top. Yes. All right. Goodbye, broiler. Thank you for your service. Brussels, here you come. Woohoo! Oh my goodness. Wow. This looks amazing. Okay, some more scallions on top for funsies. And here we go. This is it. This is what we made today. 3 things at the same time, and it was still easeful. Wonderful. Well, I feel really grateful. I have in my book, Good Enough, I have this gratitude practice that I try to do. And it's, praying, whatever it is that you want to do before you eat. I think it's such a nice experience to just really appreciate. And for me, I always try to appreciate myself and my own efforts, the effort of everything we just did together, the effort of planning this meal, buying the food, making money to buy the food, whoever was responsible for it, appreciating all the people. Like, you can look at this and think about, who got this fish to us, who got these beautiful Brussels sprouts to us, these soba noodles, and packaged them up in that gorgeous manner and brought them into a store and then sold them to us. And however you got them from here to there, all of that is right here. All of that is worthy of gratitude and appreciation every time we look at a meal. There's just so much to it. And I find that really comforting and really connecting. It makes me feel like I'm not alone. All of the people that had a part in this are sort of supporting this moment of eating and appreciating them. And when I appreciate that, even just for a moment, I'm honoring them as well. Yum. This is something we can do anytime, not just at Thanksgiving, but for the smallest thing. News alert. So the Arctic char is delicious. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I love doing this. This is so fun. See you again next time.